Hey everyone, the name is Erik Thor and I'm here to talk to you today about the INTJ personality type. First, if you want to figure out if you're an INTJ or if you're dealing with an INTJ personality type, what you want to be looking for is a private person. INTJs are introverted and they are intuitive, I am. That means they like to have their own private world apart from everyone else. They like to have their own unique thoughts, their own personal perspectives and viewpoints on things. They like to develop and nurture their own thoughts to come up with new perspectives, new ways to look at things, new ways to think about things. So they're often very existentially inclined. Another core quality you want to look for in the INTJ is ambitiousness. Often INTJs have a drive. They like to work on something. They like to have a project. They like to be industrious, to channel their creative pursuits into some kind of practical goal or ambition or project. Have an idea and then come up with a project or a way to execute that. Program something, develop something, build something, make something. Something that translates into some kind of tangible result. What you also want to look for is the perspective of a scientist. INTJs, they like to follow rules, methodologies, systems for things. They like to come up with some kind of rule for things. How do I do something? How do I think about something? How do I develop something? They like to come up with and follow methodologies. So study up a book, read this, realize, I have to set up a step-by-step procedure, come up with a system for something, come up with some kind of smart way to do something. They love to think of intelligent ways to deal with systems, tangible, practical rules that you can use when you're trying to achieve various kinds of success in all kinds of areas in life. Finally, another important quality you want to look for in an INTJ is intuition and judging. Intuitives and judgers, they tend to be visionaries, so often it is about speculation. INTJs, they like to speculate, they like to take risks, they like to count up ahead of time into the future. Where will that lead? How is that going? Where is that progressing? Where is that going? Where is that headed? So that question of where are things headed is often very important with INTJs. When you're with an INTJ in a group, they're often asking you, where are we going with this? Where is the plan with this? Where are we headed? And what you also will find about the INTJ is they are independent. So what you can find if you leave them alone is they're going to go off on their own and work on something and develop something and come up with an idea, and then they're going to strategize, and then they're going to see ahead of time where it will lead, and they will start thinking about it long into the future, and they will start coming up with concepts for things like, this is where it's going to go, this is where I want to reach, this is what I'm aiming towards. And you want to be looking for the independence also in the sense that an INTJ will want to do something their own way. They will want to come up with their own way of doing something. So that's often very crucial when you're looking in school. Like, you'll notice the INTJs in school, the teacher says, use this method to solve this problem. The INTJ will think of their own method to do something. They will try to come up with a smarter way to do it. Can I maybe do it like that instead, or could I maybe try out that? And the fact of wanting to come up with your own way of doing something, that's so crucial to an INTJ, because it stimulates your intuition and it stimulates your judging. It stimulates your intuition because you can use your imagination. You can think up a whole new method to do something. And it stimulates your judging because you can control the process and how you do it, and you can think of a strategy for it. So that's a very crucial thing to look for in an INTJ personality type. Beyond this, INTJs are leaders, and they are people that like to work from their own personal thoughts and from their own position of control. Like, they want to not only focus on what they think, what they want, what they have come up with, their own rules, their own kind of philosophy or existential beliefs or unique thoughts, but they also want to translate it towards some kind of goal. So they want to have a goal for things, they want to have a system for things, a strategy for things, they want to have rules for things, they want to have a methodology for something, and they want to kind of find themselves working towards this. So what you want to look for is the kind of person that has their own idea of how the group could do something. INTJ will usually always have their own idea for how we can solve a problem and how we can get from point A to point B. And that is often the hallmark of a leader. It's not necessarily that INTJ will like a leader position, because they might not like handling the people, they might not like the social aspects, but the fact that they can think of their own strategy, their own plan, their own way to get from point A to point B, that's a very strong leader quality. And INTJs can make great leaders if they develop and nurture this. Finally, the last trait you want to look for in the NT personality type is innovation, a drive to innovate. INTJs, they come from the perspective of intuition and thinking. So that's basically imagination, it's basically facts, it's basically systems, it's basically rules, it's some kind of tangible reward focus. So often, what INTJs and NTs tend to do is they don't tend to just have free intuition that just wild roams, just comes up with bullshit. It's not just, unicorns, it's not just the rainforest, it's not just dreams, it's not just something that comes out of nowhere. It's usually kind of based on something that exists. It's based on how do I innovate, how do I improve, how do I reach. They can take dreams, they can take things they see around them, and they can think, I could do that, I could improve that, I can put that in there, I could try that out. So they come from the perspective of innovation, which is basically enhancing, adding, customizing, improving, adding features, coming up with ways to rearrange and reorganize and to make things better. So innovators, they are driven by this hallmark quality of transformation of the world around them. They take all kinds of things around them and they come up with ways to make it smart, tangible, results-oriented, to add statistics, understanding all kinds of data to back it up. But you can also look at the inferior functions to understand an INTJ. You can look at their kind of negative drives. If you know, INTJs love to be alone, love to be their own people, like to be independent, like to be ambitious, like to work on things. Well, then you also can figure out what they don't like by kind of looking at the opposite of that. INTJs hate being just one of the people in the crowd, just being like everyone else. INTJs hate the thought of just going with the flow, just doing what feels best in the moment. They like to have a system for things, rules for things. They like to have strategies for things. And if they can't have that, that's often very difficult. INTJs don't like the thought of having to listen to everyone else around them and think about what everyone else will feel when they do something, how people will react to what they say, how people will try to anticipate other people's feelings and responses to various things. And they don't like the thought of having to rush things, to do things very quickly, to have to get from point A to point B in 2 seconds. They like to take their time to do something. So when you start to push them in that direction, what you will notice is they won't like this. They don't like when they're pushed to explore, when they're thrown out into a situation, when they can't come from their own position of, what they feel responsible for, what they have developed over time, what they know over time to be true. Take an IJ, any IJ, and throw them out into a situation where they don't know anything, where they don't have any firm rules or strategies, or can't use their judging function, don't have their own thoughts or opinions about it yet because they haven't had a chance to get that. They're not gonna do that well about it. And of course, they're not SFs, and they don't like when they're forced into a situation where everything is about community and people and what everyone thinks, what everyone likes, what's popular, what's in, what's hip. So that's also very difficult for an INTJ. But you might still see them pulling on their inferior functions. And why is that? Even though INTJs don't like doing things on feeling, they still don't like the thought of being robots or being cold or being too systematic. They don't like the thought of being accused of being cold or of being unempathetic or unsympathetic. So that fear of being seen as cold or callous by other people can get INTJs to force themselves to go into extroverted feeling, to try to be and to understand other people and to show that the other people around them that they do actually care. They actually do care. They do care. That's the thing. But it's not their first priority, and it's not expressed in the same way other people might. It's also that INTJs don't like the thought of being inauthentic. INTJs hate the thought of being inauthentic. They don't want to be accused of being liars, of being in some ways devious or untrustworthy. They want to be seen as authentic, or at least to not be seen as inauthentic. So that's very important to look at. INTJs also don't want to be seen as unpopular. Sometimes INTJs can find themselves acting a desire to not be unpopular. That can also be something in all NTs, that NTs can be caught in this trap of, oh, I don't want to be unpopular, I don't want to be disliked, I don't want to be infamous. So that fear can sometimes trap some NTs. See them being all about innovation, liking to work with new things, liking to work with ideas, but then you also see them sometimes worrying that it will get them to receive negative feedback from others and that other people will look down on them for it. So that can actually be something that is there and worries them. And then it can be to be an outsider. That's difficult thing. You want to have your own personal thoughts, you want to have your own private thoughts apart from everyone else, but you don't want to be rejected by the community and society at the same time. You don't want to be seen as an outsider or as unimportant or as just some crazy hermit who lives on a mountain. You want the people to respect your views and beliefs that you have gathered. You want people to understand your views. So it's not that you want to be one in the crowd, but you want to have the crowd's kind of understanding of your position and the respect as well that goes with it. And of course, it's not that an INTJ wants to have action around them and that they like to do things quickly and on instinct, but it is that they can sometimes find themselves worrying that, I'm too slow, I'm not fast enough, I'm not getting there where I want to be, and that can start an INTJ to start to rush themselves. That's usually not a good thing, but they can sometimes start rushing themselves. They can sometimes get caught in the fear of being too slow and being too out of date, to not be able to catch up with the people around them and with their own work and their ideas. Now, you might want to know there are 4 different kinds of INTJs. There are the actors, there are the writers, there are the reviewers, and there are the directors. And if you know one of these, which one you are, then you also know which function is the strongest in you. So what you want to look at is, first, am I an actor? Do I like to be mainly independent? Do I like to take risks? Is it very important for me to take risks, to speculate, to see ahead of time, to explore a future possibility that I've seen in my future? How important is that concept of the future to you? The stronger that concept is, and the more often you find yourself working towards that, and the more confident you find yourself being in this mode, the more likely that you're an actor INTJ. If you are an reviewer, what you might find yourself doing is rather the opposite. You'll find yourself wanting to nurture your inner world and your thinking side. So what you will be doing is you will be thinking of rules. Did I know the rules correct? Do I understand the system enough? Do I have all the knowledge about something? Do I know the methodology? Have I mastered this? Do I understand this well enough? So the reviewer types will be very oriented in that pursuit of understanding and correct knowledge. The other 2 worth mentioning are the writers, that are also like the reviewer types, introverted. They have their own personal thoughts, but they are more intuitive. So you, as an INTJ writer, what you'll find yourself doing is developing your perception, your thoughts about the world, your own unique world, your own theories. You'll find yourself being more private, unusually private, even for an INTJ. Finally, if you are one of the directors, what you'll find yourself doing is developing your thinking side and your judging side. So you'll find yourself having a very strong idea of an ambition, something you want to achieve, something you want to reach, and you will find yourself dedicating every waking hour basically to this project or to developing and working on this. And you'll feel the best when you are in this mode of working on projects and things that you find to be important to you, that live up to your rules, that live up to your theories, your thoughts and systems. So I'm gonna leave you all with that, and I'm gonna leave you with the question: which of these INTJs do you resonate with the most? What side of the INTJ is the strongest in you? Are you an INTJ? What is your biggest doubt if you're an INTJ or not? Are you perhaps watching this video because you're wondering about an INTJ or a friend of yours, if they're an INTJ? What would help you decide? What would help you know for sure that you are an INTJ? And how could I help you with that? Thank you all for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.